Growing up, I never had anything. I mean, I never had a family, never had friends. Well, that's what I thought anyways. Maybe I did, and I just don't remember, but the only thing I do remember is being on the streets since the age of 4. I had to do everything in my power to survive. If that meant stealing, hunting, whatever I had to do. Throughout the years, there was a boy that wasn't known, didn't have a dream, didn't really care about society at all. All he cared about was his own survival. Since the age of 4, he was seen as some sort of criminal, but people would forget about it as soon as they would realize that it was just a young kid that didn't have anything. That boy's name was Izuku Midoriya, and in his eyes, the world was no sunshine and rainbows. Damn, the ground is so comfy as always. Midoriya is currently 12 years old, and he's waking up right now. From where he lives, and he basically goes to like this middle school / elementary school in the city. He has no family, and he actually just makes fake parental signatures and all sorts of stuff like that. He even puts down fake addresses and tells his teachers that his parents are always gone on business, or that's their job. They always are traveling. Throughout the years, he would steal school supplies and stuff like that just to make sure he could make it through his early schooling. One day, though, while Midoriya is at school. Oh, look, it's Midoriya. He looks so dumb. Yeah, dude, look at his clothes. Yeah, get some new clothes. What are you, poor? Midoriya would always just, ignore them, telling himself that it wasn't worth it. Midoriya, for years, never responded to the people's harassments, but due to this, everything just got worse. He began getting beat down bad from quirks that include strength enhancing, water quirks, fire quirks, and many other quirks. Yeah, that Midoriya is so lame. He doesn't even have a quirk. Midoriya hears this, but just keeps listening to the teacher. Okay, class, listen up. Today we have a new student that will be joining us for the next week or so until you advance to high school. By the way, quick little note, I kind of referenced it probably 30 seconds ago, but there's a time skip here, and that's why it goes from him being 12 to the end of middle school. I just wanted to say that because I'm sure someone in the comments was about to put that. But yeah, I just want really quick. Okay, back to the story. Sorry. The girl walks in and says her name, and her name is Rumi Usagiyama. The class begins to chatter, saying, "Why does she have rabbit ears?" Okay, class, sit down, quiet down. Please take your seat. And Rumi, take your seat next to Midoriya. Midoriya raises his hand to show where he is, and she sits next to him. Hey, nice to meet you, Midoriya. Look, don't take this the wrong way, but it's probably not the best idea to associate with me. You may get hurt from, these idiots. Midoriya gets hit in the back of the head and slammed into the desk. He turns his head to see her, seemingly just ignoring the fact that his head just got slammed into the desk. See what I mean? Rumi hits the kid's hand off Midoriya. You just let them do that to you? Oh, yeah, it really doesn't even hurt. Rumi looks at him in confusion and asks what is his quirk, and the rest of the class laughs, saying he's quirkless. Midoriya looks at her and just mouths that yeah, I'll just tell you after class. The class goes on like normal, and they basically head out after, the lesson is over. Rumi runs up to Midoriya, asking him why the kids call him quirkless. Yeah, honestly, I don't know why I'm even telling you this, but I never got my quirk checked, but I know what it does. Huh? Why did you never get your quirk checked? Look, all I know is that I basically get stronger, gain resistances, and when I take damage or get burned and stuff like that. Wow. So is it like your body evolves because of the experience? Yes, exactly. I don't tell the other classmates. I'm just here to get ready for UA, and then I don't have to deal with them anymore. Rumi tells him that she wants to go to UA as well, and that they should train together. I mean, I usually just do things alone, to be honest. Midoriya goes to walk away, but she grabs his arm. What do you mean alone? Midoriya rolls his eyes and tells her basically to follow him. While they walk, he tells her that he's been living on the street for a long time now. Actually, his whole life. So being alone is kind of just his thing. Rumi looks at him and is just in shock, and then realizes all the scars on his body and sees that his knuckles have fresh wounds. Did you just start training your punches? Midoriya puts his hands in his pockets. Yes, Rumi. Look, I don't need pity. Nobody has helped me all my life. It's just normal now. Rumi grabs his arm and begins walking. Where are you taking me? Rumi doesn't respond, and they just keep walking. They approach a house. She knocks and a man opens the door. Oh, hey sweetie. Oh, who's this young man? Rumi explains the situation to her dad and that he's been living on the streets on his own since he was 4. And basically has no parents, family, or help in general. Come in, both of you. He walks up to Midoriya and pats him on the head. You can stay here until you make it into UA. I heard they have dorms there. But if you need somewhere to stay after high school, you can always count on me. No, sir, you really don't need to do this. I mean, I'm always alone, so it's just... Rumi cuts him off, saying that he doesn't have to be alone anymore, so he will sleep here, and that her and her dad will help him as much as they can. Well, I don't say this ever, but I'm sincerely grateful. Wow, Izuku, adapting to social situations. I didn't know your quirk worked like that. Midoriya cracks a very, very subtle smile at the remark, and Rumi smiles, seeing that Midoriya doesn't seem to be, well, as frowny or as down as he was before. The last day of middle school occurs, and Midoriya has been staying with Rumi's family for, about a week, and they both decide that it's basically time to start their training since middle school, well, is over. Well, if we want to go to the beach and clean up, we can clean up the beach. It's pretty massive and covered in heavy trash. Rumi says that that's a great idea, and they head to dig up a beach to see how bad it is. When they arrive, they see trash piled up everywhere. Well, come on, Rumi. Let's get started. The beach isn't going to clean itself. They jog toward the trash, and begin cleaning. For the next 5 months, they clean the entire beach, and Rumi becomes a lot more, fit. And Midoriya sees slight gains, but he's been training hard practically his whole life. So, the gains are very minimal, but it can definitely be shown. Finally, we are done. Huh, Izuku? Yeah, it wasn't too hard, but you definitely progressed a lot. Also, is your quirk really just rabbit? She kind of looks sad and says, yeah. You know that quirk, when you train it, it must be good because rabbits have insanely strong legs. She looks at him in shock that he complimented her, but still seems like the same Izuku. Well, let's head back to your home before your dad gets worried. You mean your home? It's your home too. They both head back home, and when they arrive, they eat dinner and, just head to bed. For the next couple of months, they will study, and while Rumi isn't the best at learning, but Midori, unironically, with his quirk, he's able to, adapt to basically a study situation, and he learns how to study pretty well, pretty fast, and actually learns how to teach her, to both of their benefit. For the last month or so before the UA entrance exam, they both begin to spar with each other. Come on, Rumi, kick me as hard as you can. Just go ahead. Just kick me. It's all good. Zuko, I understand how your quirk works, but I don't think this is a good idea. Rumi, come on, just do it, please. She says fine and runs at him and kicks him so hard that he breaks 3 ribs and his arm. Oh my god, Izuku, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine, Rumi, look. She looks to see that his body's already healing, and pretty fast. Wait, what about your scars, Izuku? He explains that those were from before he actually knew how to control his quirk, but now he can basically sustain most damage and be fine. She asks what does he mean, like, by most damage, and he basically tells her that he's never really been like shot. I mean, he's been like shot with like BB guns or thrown rocks at, and he's never really been hit by like a train or something like that, so he isn't sure if he can heal from that type of damage, but there's nothing that says he won't be able to. She nods, saying that she understands. The 10 months before the entrance exam then are over, just like that, and Rumi takes Midoriya to the exam. Are you ready, Izuku? Midoriya nods, and they both head in. They sit down together, and President Mike explains the test. Okay, little listeners, today we will have 2 parts of the exam. First part of the exam will be written, so look at your card and head to the designated room. Rumi and Midoriya head to their rooms and will take the test. Midoriya finishes, well, pretty fast actually, thinking that the test was relatively easy. I mean, compared to all the stuff he's been studying. He turns in his test and heads back to the room until they are called back out. Okay, little listeners, now that the written exam is over, let me explain the practical. There will be 1, 2, and 3 point robots that will give you all points. There is also, as President Mike is about to talk about the last robot, a kid with blue hair stands up saying all this stuff about how it's not professional to forget details and that he missed out on a robot, and then turns to Rumi and Midoriya. Rumi is currently asking Midoriya how he feels he did on the written portion of the exam. Hey you with the rabbit ears, pay attention or just leave because it's obvious you're not taking being a hero seriously. She's about to say something, but Midoriya grabs his shirt. I will give you 5 seconds to apologize to her, or I will throw you across Japan. The blue-haired boy panics and apologizes and sits down. President Mike holds back laughter and it just explains to basically avoid the 0 point robot. Rumi then stares at Midoriya in shock that he actually defended her. That like throughout this time that they've hung out, and it being almost a year now, that like that's the most emotional he's really seemed. And then they both split up and arrive at their own gates. Midoriya stands waiting for the gate to open as someone walks up to him. Hey, you're really cute. What's your name? Midoriya just, well, sort of ignores her, and she says her name is Mina. And then he turns to her. Oh, were you saying something to me? She rolls her eyes and walks away, and Midoriya just, well, shrugs. I mean, knowing that she was talking to him, but also being kind of clueless to most things around him. The gates swing open and Midoriya goes sprinting out faster than probably most Olympic sprinters, and obviously faster than most people without a speed enhancement quirk. He begins destroying robots very easily, looking at his hands, thinking that all that training really did help. He doesn't stop destroying robots, and he racks up like 200 robot points. The teachers that are watching ask Nezu what's his quirk, and Nezu just says it's called Survivor. But that's it. There's no other details that even come along with it. Nezu decides to test his strength out by sending out the 0 pointer. Midoriya begins to feel shaking all throughout the city and sees the 0 point robot. Whoa, that's the 0 pointer? Maybe I should let it hit me. He contemplates this for a second, but then sees that someone is in trouble and is struggling to get out from under the rubble. He runs over, and as the foot of the robot is about to crush the girl, he catches it and pushes it over as hard as possible. He then takes another robot and electrocutes himself and sends his hand through the 0-point robot on the ground, frying its circuits. Well, that was easy enough, but I really wish I could have let it hit me. I might have gotten stronger from it. Midoriya walks off with a serious face as if he thinks he didn't do anything impressive. Midoriya then sees Rumi and she runs over to him. She explains that she thinks she did great until they're approached by someone. Midoriya, we need to talk. Midoriya looks at him and tells him, what does he need? Don't worry, kid. You didn't do anything wrong. It's actually on the contrary. But the principal wants to offer you enrollment now, and also that you can move into the dorms as of today. Rumi looks at him and says that she's so proud of him. Oh, well, I'll go only if she can come too. Aizawa looks at him, and then Nezu comes out of his scarf. Sure thing, Midoriya, but may I ask why? Well, because she's gonna be a better hero than me. And also, she's the only person who gave someone like me, someone else to trust. She blushes at what he said and realizes that slowly but surely, Midoriya is opening up from what he once was. Nezu then tells them both that 2 dorms will be ready for them, so feel free to move in tonight if they want. They thank Nezu and head home. I can't believe it, Izuku. We did it. Rumi looks over to see Midoriya tearing up. He wipes his tears away, and for the first time, he actually gives her a big smile, thanking her for everything she's done for him. Well, and for someone like him, someone that was just on the street and had literally nobody. The next day, they move into dorms and get settled, and after a week, school begins. They both arrive, and all the girls basically stare at Midoriya because of the way he looks, but he doesn't even notice and just sits down. Rumi and him begin talking, and all the other girls begin to think that she's the biggest competition, not knowing that Midoriya doesn't even know they exist practically, because he got really good at blocking out unwanted chatter and unwanted presences. To him, he thinks that it's just part of his quirk, but frankly, he's just good at ignoring people. Aizawa then enters the room, yelling, telling the class to shut up. He tells everyone to come to the front and say their name and quirk. Rumi does so, but to her relief, nobody actually makes fun of her for having a rabbit quirk, and both of them can tell that UA is a bit different. Midoriya walks up. My quirk is Survivor. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Aizawa stands up before anyone could actually wake him up. I want an explanation of your quirk, kid. I thought so. Well, the easiest way of explaining it is that all creatures evolve to sustain in their environment, right? It's the same for me. The more damage I take, the more durable I am. The more I train my striking power, the better my striking power will get. And no, before anybody asks, this is not a workout quirk. I have to put my body through insane amounts of pain for it to actually matter. So if we're talking about burning myself at the stove, that won't really help. But burning myself in a bonfire, that will help. The class kind of looks at him like this kid is insane, but Aizawa just nods and thanks him for the explanation, and Midoriya sits down. Okay, problem children, put on these PE uniforms and meet me out at the field. Everyone does so, and they meet Aizawa outside. Okay, listen up. You'll all be taking a quirk assessment. So whoever got number 1 in the class, in the entrance exam, throw this ball. A boy by the name of Bakugo walks up, saying that he obviously got the highest. Get back in line, Bakugo. The highest was Midoriya. Midoriya walks in the circle, and Aizawa cancels his quirk. Well, without him knowing. And Midoriya launches the ball. Nice, kid. 1,200 meters. Everyone in the class is surprised. But Midoriya actually begins to think to himself that He really didn't even try very hard. You tried to cancel my quirk, Sensei, didn't you? Aizawa nods, saying that his quirk seems to basically be like a mutation quirk, but it's not just that. Midoriya lines back up, and the class begins to say how much fun this will be. Aizawa then hears this and says, "Fun? Oh, I mean, if that's what it supposedly is, then let's just up the stakes, making it so that whoever gets last will get expelled." The rest of the tests finish up, and Midoriya gets first. I mean, unsurprisingly, and Rumi gets in the top 3 with Bakugo right with them. "Well, Mineta, you got last. Go to the principal's office." A kid with purple balls on his head then just walk away with his head down. "Okay, class, you're dismissed. Get out of my sight." Everyone leaves and they head to the dorms. "So, what do you think about class, Izuku?" They're okay, I guess." "You didn't even pay attention to our classmates, huh?" "Okay, no, I didn't, but come on, do I have to?" Rumi is about to say yes, but then remembers all the girls staring at him, and she kind of gets jealous and just changes the subject. The next day, they enter class, and Aizawa explains the plan for them. "Today, a new teacher will be providing you with instructions, so just be ready for some training." A man enters the classroom at insane speeds. "I am here!" Everyone screams All Might, well, except for Midoriya, and they're told to meet him at Ground Gamma with their hero suits. Hero suit? I have one of those? Rumi rolls her eyes and just shows him. "Whoa, Rumi, this is so cool. It's not flashy at all. It's like perfect." She says that she knew he would like it, and he basically goes and puts on the hero suit. The hero suit is basically a no-sleeve shirt that is like green with that metal face mask. So it's like a cooler version of Deku's hero costume and canon. So it's more of like a streetwear type of vibe type of thing. They all meet All Might at Ground Gamma, and he explains that the school told him to do hero versus villain training, but he decided that he should basically train everyone in true combat first. "Well, we will have 2 teams. Well, 2 teams each in each match, and each team will have one match against another team, so it will be 2 versus 2. The first match is Bakugo and Todoroki versus Midoriya and Rumi." They then meet in an open street, and All Might begins to count them down. "The fight begins in 3, 2, 1. The fight begins, and Bakugo charges at Midoriya. "I don't know who you are, you extra, but die!" Bakugo explodes Midoriya, but Rumi follows up with an insanely powerful kick, launching Bakugo. Todoroki blasts ice at Rumi, but then Midoriya, seemingly unfazed by the explosion, with only minor scratches, smashes into the ice. Rumi hops on his shoulder, boosting toward Todoroki, kicking him in the chest. Bakugo tries to get back up, but Midoriya is in front of him once again, punching him in the stomach and making him cough up saliva. The class stares in shock at what just happened, and that both of them looked in complete sync. "The winners are Midoriya and Rumi." The class cheers, and Rumi is super happy, but Midoriya just looks like he was expecting that outcome, just like his, normal self. Both Todoroki and Bakugo walk over, in which Bakugo declares this as some sort of war, but Todoroki just tells them that it was a good match and he just has to get stronger. Rumi tells him that they did good and that she is only super strong because of Midoriya. "Rumi, you shouldn't say that. Honestly, you did all the hard work." Everyone looks at him in shock as he's never really spoken much. Also, he's never given a compliment. Mina walks up and asks why does he only compliment her and not like, anybody else, including her. Rumi looks at her with a death stare, but Midoriya actually responds, well, you need to have something to compliment for me to compliment you. So the whole class starts laughing, and the rest of the matches continue. After they are dismissed, Midoriya and Rumi head back to the dorms, and Midoriya tells her that he's feeling tired and he just wants to go to sleep. Wow, tired? I didn't even think that was possible. Yeah, me neither, but I will talk to you later. Midoriya then heads into his room and falls asleep. When he falls asleep, though, he sees this odd figure. But it didn't feel like a dream. It feels like a memory, but one that he had no clue existed. A tall man approaches a young version of Izuku and pats him on the head. It's okay, kid. Unfortunately, your parents are dead, but I can give you something that you lack. Just give me your hand. An odd light transfers from the man to Midoriya, but then the memories disappear once again. It's time for you to come back to me, child. You are in debt to me. The man in his memories appears directly in front of Midoriya in his so-called dream and grabs his face. Midoriya wakes up and starts panting. What the hell was that? Did he give me this quirk? Rumi then runs into his room. Izuku, are you okay? You were yelling. It was just a bad dream, I think. Or a memory that I forgot about? I don't know. Rumi sits next to him, telling him basically, and he tells her what exactly happened. He tells and basically what he saw, and that it seemed like a man gave him this quirk or something. But Izuku, how is that even possible? Like, you must have been born with your quirk. I'm not sure, but it just felt so real. I don't know. She tells him that he should just get some sleep, but he tells her that he doesn't know if he can. Well then, I'll sleep here. She hops in his bed and tells him to lay down. He asks if she is sure, and she tells him just to lay down. He lays down and is a bit away from Rumi, but she basically shoots over to him and hugs him. Okay, go to sleep, Izuku. Everything will be fine. He smiles and then falls asleep. The next morning, they wake up, and Rumi is laying on top of him, hugging him. He smiles and stands up while she hugs him. Rumi, it's time to wake up. We're going to the USJ today. She wakes up, realizing that she is hugging onto Izuku, and lets go. She tries to say sorry, but he tells her it's fine and thanks her for staying with him. They both get changed and they head to class. Listen up, you screw-ups. Today we'll be going to the USJ, so get ready, head out, and meet me at the bus. Everyone agrees and then realizes, did he just call us screw-ups? They head to the bus, and when they arrive, they head to the USJ. Everyone talks about who they think is the strongest, and everyone says that it has to be either Rumi or Midoriya after, their display against Bakugo and Todoroki. Everyone looks over to hear what they would have to say, but they're both sleeping on the bus. The class awes except for Mina and Bakugo, who just look pissed, of course, for, different reasons. They arrive, and when they wake up, the class heads off of the bus. They enter the USJ and are greeted by Pro Hero 13, and she basically explains what the plan is. But out of nowhere, a portal begins to open in the middle of the USJ. 13, protect the kids. Aizawa begins fighting a horde of villains. Midoriya begins staring at the man that seemed to be the leader. Memories then begin to flow back to his head. You see this little one? This is a picture of a kid who is going through what you are. You are not alone, and not only the one who is affected by this society. Midoriya begins running down the staircase, and his class at 13 call to him, but it's no use. He can't hear them. This guy, he's working for the man in my memories. Midoriya runs up, and Shigaraki looks at him. Hello, kid. Master told me you would come to me. It's time to come pay your debts. Aizawa hears this and yells for Midoriya, but he isn't listening to anything. I don't owe you shit. I grew up on my own, struggled on my own. You got everything handed to you by your little master. No. I came here to kill All Might, but bringing you is just as good. Nomu beat the kid half to death. A large monster charges at Midoriya, punching him, and he goes flying. Midoriya stands up, slightly hurt. It won't be that easy. You won't be leaving here alive. Midoriya charges at the Nomu, but gets pinned down, and just begins getting beat senseless, and nobody is able to help him. His face begins to just get repeatedly bashed into the ground, and the Nomu then gets the signal to stop. That's enough, Nomu. Bring him here. The Nomu grabs Midoriya and brings him to a portal. Before Midoriya can be taken away, he opens his right eye in a way telling Aizawa that he's fine. What the hell is up with that kid? And what the hell is he up to? The main villains, including the Nomu, then leave, and Rumi screams for Izuku. Midoriya is then strapped to a chair. Okay, Izuku, tell me, why does my master want you so badly? I mean, you have such a weak quirk. Midoriya opens his eyes as if completely coherent. Well, Shigaraki, that's why I'm here. I would love to know the same thing. Shigaraki begins thinking that this kid should be knocked out still. How the hell is he even awake? So how long are you gonna keep me here? Until Master comes. In about a week. Wow, a week, huh? Shigaraki tells him in the meantime to shut up and wait. Well, this is kind of surprising. Shigaraki looks confused. You're the only one here. Midoriya shows that he has already broken out of his cuffs and restraints. Midoriya kicks Shigaraki into the wall. Yeah, you messed up. Now you're gonna die. Shigaraki smiles and yells for his Nomu. The Nomu tries to punch Midoriya, but when the punch lands, it doesn't do any damage at all. What the hell? You weren't this strong before. You know what they say. I am a survivor. Midoriya punches the Nomu's head until it basically becomes a small blood puddle. He then looks at Shigaraki with a death stare, but then he falls into a portal, getting away. Damn it. Well, I have to get back to UA. Midoriya walks out to see that the city looks completely different. What the hell? Where am I? A man walks by calling him crazy for not knowing he's in California. California? You mean America? Damn it. Midoriya searches everywhere, trying to find his phone at least, and eventually finds it, calling Aizawa. Midoriya, where are you? Are you alright? Yeah, I am. I'm fine. But I'm kinda in California. What the hell? Why did they take you there? Not sure. But maybe it's just some hideout that they had and they didn't want me near Japan for a while. But I have no way back. Let me handle that, kid. I'll be sending you money to your school card and for a hotel and other expenses. Just hang in there and we'll send you a flight home. But it won't be for a while. Damn. So I'm missing the sports festival, huh? Yeah, sorry, kid. But maybe this is for the best. I will update you in a couple days. Thanks, Aizawa. Midoriya then heads to the hotel and asks for a room. He gets his room and gets a text from someone. Oh, it's Rumi. She texts him asking if he's okay and what's happening, and he just explains the situation to her and that he'll be in America for a bit. She begins asking tons of questions, but Midoriya really doesn't have an answer for any of them. He just tells her that he will be cheering her on for the sports festival from a hotel room. A couple of days pass, and Midoriya begins training on some beaches that are nearby, and basically also then watches the sports festival. He actually watched Rumi get first place, but when she got the first place award, she looked extremely unsatisfied or sad. He called her, telling her that just because he isn't there it doesn't mean that like she can't be happy about her win and that she did an amazing job. He then tells her that he'll be back soon, that Aizawa is actually sending a private plane in about a day. Midoriya the next day then answers his phone. Kid, come to this airport. We're here to pick you up. We sent you the address. Okay, sounds good. See you in a bit. When Midoriya arrives, he is greeted by Aizawa and Nezu, and Midoriya explains what happened and all about his past memories that are for some reason slowly arising now. They explain that the only man that they know of that can give or take quirks is the top villain in Japan by the name of All for One. Once they say this, Midoriya begins remembering that name and how All for One did tell him that he is in debt to him now. They explain to Midoriya that his scores in the entrance exam and basically through their own recommendation still got him tons of internship offers, but he also got one from someone who never really gives internship offers and, well, barely gives work study offers. Who are you talking about, Sensei? After the flight, they arrive at UA, and Aizawa tells him to get some rest, but to also say hello to Rumi because, well, she's been kind of sad for the last week. He says he will, and Midoriya runs to the dorms. Midoriya walks to her door and knocks on it. She opens the door, and when she sees him, she jumps on him and begins crying, dragging him into her room for the night. The next day, they go to classes like normal, and Aizawa explains the internship offers and that they must have one picked out by today. And they all agree, and Aizawa passes out papers of lists of internships. Okay, now class, you will all be choosing your hero names. But that's really not my thing, so Midnight will be assisting you with that. I'm just gonna go sleep. She walks into the room and tells the class to pick their names and just put it on a whiteboard. Rumi actually ends up picking the rabbit hero Mirko, and then the last person to go is Midoriya. Well, it's kind of simple, but I just wanted to be called Survivor. Midnight asks why, but because isn't that just his quirk's name? And he says yeah, but just like his quirk, he survived by any means, so he feels that Survivor fits him the best. She agrees and he sits down. Class ends, and the next day Midoriya says his goodbyes to Rumi and a couple of the other classmates, and they all part ways to their internships. Midoriya walks up to his internship and is greeted by. Midoriya is then greeted by his internship, and he's interning with Fat Gum. Midoriya is greeted by Fat Gum, and Fat Gum explains to Midoriya that he heard about his quirk and it's very similar to his own, well, maybe even better. So he wanted to help him train and get some experience in the field. Sounds good, sir. No need to call me sir, just call me Fat Gum. Okay, Fat Gum, what should we do first? Well, kid, follow me. First, I want to introduce you to someone. They both walk into the agency, and a boy with black hair is waiting for them. Fat Gum introduces Midoriya to the boy, and he's actually a third year from UA by the name of Tamaki. Say hello, Tamaki. Tamaki tries to speak, but struggles to say hi. Midoriya, in an oddly reassuring way, tells him that it's fine, that it took him a long time to actually talk to people as well, and Tamaki actually speaks, saying thank you. Fat Gum then tells Midoriya to follow him to the training grounds. They head over and Fat Gum shows him a dummy. Okay, kid. With my quirk, I use it to protect civilians first. I know that you are really strong, but using your quirk as a shield would be amazing for your hero career. Oh, so you want me to protect this dummy from incoming attacks? Fat Gum nods and activates a paintball machine that will actually move around and shoot at the dummy. Okay, have fun, kid. For the next 2 hours, Midoriya allowed himself to get pelted with paintballs, and then Fat Gum finally came back, not knowing how he did. Wow, impressive, kid. There's not even paint on the dummy. he looks to see Midoriya covered in bruises. See, Fat Gum, I've actually never been hit by paintballs before, so the first 50 hits, I definitely felt it. Fat Gum begins to apologize to him, but says that he did amazing nonetheless. Tamaki comes out as well. Good job, Midoriya. Thanks, Tamaki. Fat Gum pats them both on the head and tells them that they are both improving in different ways. Fat Gum tells Midoriya he is done for the day and tomorrow they will begin patrolling. He cleans off and then heads to bed. Fat Gum wakes him up early in the morning for some more protection training, and then at night the three of them basically go out on some patrolling. While out on the patrol, Fat Gum explains to Midoriya their daily routine, and Midoriya even gets to see how Fat Gum protects people. You're really impressive, Fat Gum. Thanks, kid, but I promise both of you will be better than me. From the distance, screaming can be heard. On the TVs, it begins saying that these creatures have been showing up in every city, but most are currently in Hosu. The TV shows a Nomu where they currently are and people running. You three, follow me and protect whoever you can. They follow and they spot the Nomu. The Nomu screeches and charges at Fat Gum. Fat Gum takes the hit, but it is in tons of pain. Damn, this thing is so strong. The Nomu stands over Fat Gum and goes to hit him, but Midoriya basically gets him out of the way. Midoriya, listen, you can't fight, but I have a plan. Okay, I'm listening, Fat Gum. Fat Gum tells him that if he takes a couple more hits, he should be able to defeat the Nomu. Midoriya nods, but Fat Gum tells him to punch him. Midoriya looks at him in confusion. Just listen, kid, do it. He does so, and Fat Gum is in extreme pain, but is fighting through the pain as much as he can. Fat Gum then charges up an attack, but as he does this, the Nomu is about to strike him. But Midoriya realizes this and jumps in front of the way, blocking the Nomu's attack, like without even putting his guard up. Fat Gum grabs Midoriya, throwing him backwards, and punches the Nomu, sending it flying and presumably dead. Midoriya picks up Fat Gum, and they head back to the agency. You okay, Fat Gum? Yeah, kid, thanks to you. You took that hit like a champ. How do you even do that? Well, long story short, I've been beat senseless by one of those things. Fat Gum looks at Midoriya in shock, thinking that this kid is insane. Like, what can't he survive? He tells him he's proud of him, and Tamaki tells them sorry for not being able to help, but Midoriya walks over and tells him that soon he will have the confidence of a lion. Midoriya gives him a thumbs up without smiling, and Tamaki does the same. The next day, Fat Gum gets a call from UA. What? You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, I'll send the kid back right now. Midoriya then walks in. Hey, Fat Gum, what are we doing today? Actually, kid, one of your classmates was killed, so you'll be getting taken back to UA. Midoriya looks in confusion and minor sadness, never really feeling this before for someone else. They arrive and Aizawa greets the class. As you can tell, Tanya Ito was killed during the internship. Everyone except for Midoriya begins truly crying. I'm sorry, everyone, but in 3 days school will start up again, and I hope you all will take this as a lesson to work hard. Everyone continues to cry, but Midoriya stands up and begins speaking. Look, before coming to this school, before I met Rumi, I had nothing and nobody. So if we never want to be sad like this again, we all need to work harder than everyone, including villains and including other heroes. Today we mourn, but tomorrow we need to become the best heroes. Everyone looks at him in shock, even Aizawa, and everyone stands up and yells for Ida in unison. I'm glad you all are like this. Now rest up these next 3 days before we are jumping into the final exams right away. The training lodge is right after, so if y'all want to be number one heroes, You might want to pass this final exam. Everyone nods and heads to the dorms. Rumi and Midoriya walk together, and Rumi tells him that she's never heard him talk like that before. Yeah, I don't know. This just made me realize that I want to protect the people that matter to me most. Rumi smiles and tells him not to worry so much about her. I know you're strong, Rumi, but Fat Gum showed me that I can protect people like a shield, and I plan on doing so. Rumi hugs him and tells him that she's proud of him. The next couple days, they both do light training together, and he shows her everything Fat Gum has taught him, showing this more refined fight style of allowing someone else to be the spear while he's basically the shield. Rumi is impressed on how much more effective their tag team fighting is now, and can tell that Midoriya doesn't actually seek the fight anymore unless he knows he won't put his teammate in harm's way. Everyone in the class actually meets up for a training session, as well as a study session on the last day for simple combat stuff, and then the first day back to UA was the day of the written exam. They all took it, and most people passed the exam, but Midoriya, as usual, found it, relatively easy because of his quirk, allowing him to basically soak in information easier than most people, and honestly remember things a lot easier. It's not perfect, but I mean, it makes studying and stuff like that a lot easier for him. Okay, class, now that we are done, everyone head outside and meet me at the gym. Everyone heads out, and when they arrive at the gym, they are greeted by various teachers. Okay, listen up, class. For the practical exam, you'll all be in pairs, chosen by us, and you will be fighting the teachers. Here are the teams. The teams are announced, but 2 people are left out. Don't worry, we didn't forget about you two. Bakugo and Midoriya will be facing him. From the sky, All Might comes crashing in. I am here, and I will be your opponent. Both Bakugo and Midoriya smile and sync, and everyone is separated into their pairs. Bakugo, we need to work together. Shut up, you nerd. I don't need your help. Look, how about this? We can make a deal. You can do all the damage if you want, and I will only hit him if necessary. What are you talking about, nerd? I'm the shield, you're the spear. How does that sound? Alright, you got my attention, Midoriya. The rest of the battles finish up, and most of the teams pass, and Rumi's team passes because, we just put her in the place of Mineta to fight Midnight. Now for the final match, Midoriya and Bakugo take the stage. They both line up at the gate, and when it swings open, they charge at All Might. A large shot of pressurized wind comes at them, but Midoriya steps in front of Bakugo, and it stops on impact with no damage. They continue forward and make it to All Might. All Might throws a punch, but Midoriya blocks it, and over his shoulder, Bakugo blasts an explosion at All Might. The rest of the class stares in shock that it looks like they're working together. Bakugo jumps on Midoriya's shoulders, blasting himself above All Might. Bad move, young Bakugo. Midoriya then tackles All Might right before All Might can actually hit Bakugo out of the air, and Bakugo comes down, blasting them both with a full power from his gauntlet. All Might begins to think that doing such a thing was a horrible idea. Now Midoriya must be out of commission. All Might gets up to see Midoriya is already running to the exit with Bakugo. Realizing that Midoriya must have insane resistance to his explosions to take that hit like that. All Might gets up and goes after them, making it to them before they could actually escape. They both smile. Seemingly, this is what they wanted. All Might punches at Bakugo, and Midoriya blocks it. But in Midoriya's right arm is the other one of Bakugo's bracers. He pulls the pin, and it blasts All Might in his injured side without actually realizing it though. Bakugo throws on the cuffs, and they're deemed as the winners. The class begins to say that their teamwork was just as good as Midoriya's and Rumi's, that they were even able to beat All Might. All Might stands up, visibly hurt, but tells them that they did amazing and their plan was flawless. They both walk away with a we can call it a mutual respect for each other, recognizing both of their strengths now. They get to the class and they all celebrate, saying how amazing they both were, and Midoriya thanks them, but Bakugo just scoffs, saying that he already knows he did amazing and they don't need to remind him. Aizawa then announces that even if they didn't pass the exam, you will be joining us at the Forest Lodge, and everyone begins to cheer. The next day, everyone gets packed and heads off. They are all on the bus, talking about how amazing Bakugo and Midoriya's teamwork was, and that it was even comparable to him and Rumi's. Well, the teamwork is a little different. Both of the quirks are very different, but in my opinion I prefer Rumi because I like hand-to-hand combat a bit more. The class is shocked at the response and the bus begins to stop. Aizawa tells the class to get off and that they are meeting someone or meeting people here. They get off to see the Wild Pussycats. They introduce themselves, and then the other bus goes by them. Oh yeah, by the way, class, the training camp has already started. The cliff begins to shift, and the whole class gets thrown off into the woods below. The class falls off the cliff, and they land in the forest below. Midoriya lands flat on the ground and just gets up brushing himself off. The class then begins making their way through the forest and destroying various monsters. When they all make it through, the class comes through limping. Well, except for Midoriya. They are all greeted by Aizawa and the Wild Pussycats. Okay, problem children, go get cleaned up and eat some food. Everyone does so, and the Wild Pussycats stare at Midoriya, thinking, how is the kid not hurt at all? I told you, he's a freak of nature, but don't think he's blessed by any means. Also, stop staring at him, that's creepy. They look in confusion and ask, what is he talking about? I'm not gonna explain the kid's story, you ask him yourself. The class gets cleaned up, and when they're done, they basically come to the eating area, and Midoriya and Rumi begin talking about what to expect. Well, honestly, I don't know what I should work on, but I'm sure Aizawa has an idea. Rumi tells him that she just wants to work on her defense and combat, and also just normal hand-to-hand combat like with her hands. And she basically says that she won't always have Midoriya around to basically pick up the slack in terms of the defense. Well, yeah, unless we, make an agency together. She looks at him super excited. You really want to? I mean, yeah, why not? You're the only person I really trust anyways. She hugs him and he's like super surprised. And she tells him that she wanted to offer that but was kind of too scared to ask. Midoriya is about to respond, but he is approached by the Wild Pussycats. Hey, do you mind if we ask you some questions, Midoriya, somewhere else? You can just do it here if it pertains to me. She already knows about my life. They ask how did he know they were going to ask about this, and he tells them that he can tell by their stares, like they're just blatantly staring at him. They apologize, but he tells them it's fine, and to basically ask away. Well, Midoriya, what happened in your life to make you this strong? It's a long story, but I have suspicion that I was quirkless when I was young, and I was left stranded on my own. But a man approached me and gave me this quirk, thinking it would allow me at least to just survive, but he didn't know how much I would actually train it. He lifts his shirt and shows many scars. This is all from getting beaten by classmates, villains, and some even heroes. Their eyes open wide and ask if Hero seriously did that. Yup, they did. But it's fine now. I'm stronger because of it. Every time I go through something traumatic and horrible, I get stronger. And I mean that literally. They ask why does he want to be Hero if heroes also did these things to him? That's easy, to get off the streets. But I will admit, I've thought about becoming a villain. My life was horrible, but any doubt of that went away when I met her. He points at Rumi and she blushes. She took me in when nobody else wanted to help me. Her father let me stay with them, treated me like a human being. The Wild Pussycats look at Rumi in shock, and she just says that she did what any hero should do, help others when they can't help themselves. Well, that's all we want to know, Midoriya, and I want you both to know that you guys are going to be amazing heroes. They both thank the Wild Pussycats, and the Pussycats walk away. So, what do you think that was about, Izu? I'm not sure, to be honest. Wait, did you just... Never mind. He slightly smiles and just shakes his head. After eating, they all head to bed, and the next day they are woken up pretty early by Aizawa. They head out, and Aizawa is waiting in the field for them. Listen up, you problem children. You all need to be training, and I'm gonna tell you how. He tells everyone what to do, and the last two people are Rumi and Midoriya. Rumi, you need to work on your defense and, frankly, your hand-to-hand combat, like actual hand-to-hand combat with your fists, because all you do is really kick. So, I mean, also since combat is your specialty, it will definitely help you greatly. She nods and asks who she should spar with, and Aizawa tells her since Midoriya doesn't need that much work, he will benefit from this more than really anything, and she will spar with him. She gets excited, but Aizawa tells her to stay focused on the training, please. For the entire day, Midoriya basically is a punching bag in a way for Rumi, but also taught her certain ways to basically use her hands in hand-to-hand combat, and not just her legs, obviously, but also different ways to defend herself. Because before he actually became like, well, kind of like how Fat Gum is, being able to like absorb hits and stuff. He had to, like, you know, learn how to dodge, learn how to take hits to limit damage. After the day was over, they were able to actually eat food and rest for a bit. But after Aizawa set something up for them, called the Test of Courage. During this, Midoriya was just kind of waltzing through the forest until blue fire covered it like a canopy. What the hell? Midoriya turns to run back to the camp to see if everyone was okay, but Nomu and two others stand in front of him. One who can control blue flames, and another a massive man. What do you want? Well, frankly, kid, I don't know. The hand face wants you for some reason. Not sure why, but something about his master wanting you. Interesting. All for One is still after me. Not really surprising. The huge man by the name of Muscular charges at him, trying to grab him, but misses. I mean, and then Midoriya kind of just steps out of the way and just continues talking to the man with blue flames. Alright, now what is your name, Mr. Blue Fire Guy or whatever? Dabi, what about you, kid? Midoriya. But, feel free to call me Survivor. You look familiar, by the way. You kind of look like someone from... Nah, that doesn't matter. Muscular gets pissed, thinking that this kid is not taking him seriously, punching him in the back of the head. Muscular, right? I'm currently talking to Dabi. Can you... Midoriya then punches Muscular, and he goes flying through tons of trees. Yeah, you guys came very ill-prepared. Come on, that guy? And Anomu? Seriously? Dabi begins thinking that this kid is not someone to take lightly by any means, and if he isn't careful, he could be leaving here in a body bag. Well, Dabi, you can call off this whole thing, or I'll just be taking you all to prison. You're too cocky, kid. Dabi blasts fire at Midoriya, but he doesn't even move. The fire then disappears, and Midoriya just walks out of the smoke. Dabi looks at him in shock. What the hell are you, kid? Midoriya dashes at him and hits him in the stomach. Been asking myself that for a while. Midoriya defeats him and then the Nomu and drags Muscular and Dabi to the camp. When he arrives, he sees the Pussycats fighting Splinter. Splinter looks to see both of his comrades knocked out. How did they? He then sees the kid they are here for. Midoriya stands in front of Splinter and he tries to swing his sword at him, in which the people there, including some of his classmates, scream for him to dodge, but the blades just connect and shatter in an instant. Splinter realizes his predicament and tries to run, but Midoriya grabs him and throws him back into the heroes, knocking him out. The rest of the kids come out of the forest with the other villains then detained. They put them in one pile and Aizawa goes to restrain them, but a portal opens beneath them and they disappear. But as this happens, basically the same thing happens to Midoriya. Midoriya lands in the dark area and begins hearing a voice. "Time to pay your debts, kid. Show yourself, All For One." All For One walks out from the shadows. "My child, welcome back." "I'm nobody's child, don't call me that." All For One shakes his head and tells him that the moment he accepted that quirk, he was his child. "No, All For One, I have no loyalty to you. You already have a pet dog in Shigaraki, why not train him?" Of course. But you could be even better. When I'm gone, you can have my quirk, and your body will mold itself to it." "You might as well just kill me, All For One, because that's not gonna happen." All For One shakes his head, saying that he might want to reconsider, unless he wants to see his precious Rumi tortured and killed. "You won't touch her, or I will see fit that you die, and everyone associated with you does so as well." "You can't stop me, kid. Nobody can. So join me, or I kill her." Midoriya sits with his head down, and a portal opens and they both walk out. They arrive in the middle of a city with various pro heroes waiting. All Might sees All For One and screams his name, telling him to let Midoriya go. All Might charges in at All For One and punches him so hard, smoke appears everywhere. When it clears though, the one standing in front of All Might is Midoriya, grabbing his hand. "Young Midoriya, what are you doing?" "I'm sorry, All Might, but I have to kill you." Midoriya punches All Might into a building and charges at him into the smoke where no one actually can see. Their fight begins and they begin clashing while All For One watches in amusement at what is happening, thinking to himself that he doesn't even need to fight the symbol of peace. His own version of the symbol of peace, aka the symbol of terror, will do it for him. "Young Midoriya, please stop! Stop this at once!" "Sorry, All Might. My loyalty is no longer to the heroes. It's to All For One." All Might and Midoriya continue their fight, and it seems like it's coming to its climax. "It's over, All Might. This is for the best." "Young Midoriya, think about what you are doing." All For One then walks up to Midoriya. "Let me finish this, child. I want him to die by my hands." Midoriya backs up and allows All For One to step forward. "Just like your master, All Might, you will die to my hand." All Might then slightly smirks and puts all his power into his right arm, punching All For One. But just as he does this, Midoriya does the same, punching All For One in the same spot from behind. Back to the beginning of the fight. Midoriya charges at All Might while within a building. Smoke is covering them. "Young Midoriya, what are you doing?" "Listen, All Might, we have to be quick. He threatened to kill Rumi, but I don't know. I know that the other heroes are closing in on their position. Do you know if you have any way of contacting them or not?" "Yes, young Midoriya. Gran Torino will tell me with this earpiece." "Okay, we need to keep fighting until we get that signal. And you will let me know through your own signal. I'm not sure what." "Okay, I will go into my skinny form when the transmission is received." Midoriya kind of looks in confusion but just nods in agreement and throws All Might out of the buildings. Now back to present. All For One lays on the ground, barely conscious. "You really thought I would kill All Might for you? You really thought I would join you?" All For One tries to slowly crawl away. "I may not know who my parents are, But I know they are looking down, smiling, because I just defeated the man who made me suffer so much. All for One begins to cough up blood, and just smiles. Dumb kid. I gave you life. You're the only reason why you're alive is because of me. Your parents, on the other hand, I killed them. And you'll have to live with that pain forever. Midoriya begins to just start shaking in complete anger. He goes to send his hand through All for One's chest, but someone stops him. Someone's voice. Rumi runs over and hugs him, telling him to stop. He turns to her, and All for One then passes out. The police and pro heroes then take him away. I thought I was gonna lose you. She tells him that he will never lose her. I love you, Rumi. He passes out, and Rumi carries him to the hospital. Hours pass, and he finally wakes up and turns to see Rumi holding his hand. Rumi, oh, wake up, wake up. She wakes up and begins crying. I'm so glad you're okay. Of course I am. This is not the first time I passed out like this. I mean, it's been a long time, but... He smiles, and she tells him that she loves him too, and that she wants to be with him throughout everything. Midoriya smiles and obviously asks her to be, in a relationship with him, and she obviously says, of course. All Might then runs into the room. Young Midoriya, are you okay? I'm fine, All Might. What about you? Good, thanks to you. Yeah, sorry for the scare, All Might, but it had to be done. No worries, young Midoriya, but you're extremely strong, even more than I thought. Midoriya thanks All Might, and All Might heads out. The nurse comes in, telling Midoriya that he has 0 wounds and no broken bones, and he can just leave. He doesn't say anything about why this is the case, and just leaves with Rumi. They head back to UA, and when they arrive, the class, including the teachers, greet Midoriya back. Aizawa walks up to him and pats him on the head. You did amazing, prom child. You truly are a hero. But this is not just to greet you. Someone is actually here to see you as well. Huh? Who? Fat Gum then exits the dorms in his normal fat self once again. Hey Midoriya, good to see you back. Fat Gum, how have you been? Good, kid, but this isn't about me. I want to offer you a work study job. Oh my god, thank you so much, Fat Gum, but I don't even have my provisional hero license. Aizawa then walks up to him and hands him a card. Here you go, kid. You did great. Now your class has to train harder to catch up. Aizawa basically gives a creepy smile, and Midoriya kind of laughs. Aizawa tells him that he'll be working with Fat Gum, so he will be excused from classes, just needs to obviously keep up with the work he misses. I will, Sensei. Okay then, kid, you can go. Fat Gum has some work for you. Midoriya thanks everyone and hugs Rumi, telling her that he will see her later. The class basically looks at them saying ooh, and she glows a bright red. Fat Gum takes Midoriya to the agency and asks if he could tell him exactly what happened during the fight with All for One. Well, it's a long story, but I can tell you. Midoriya then explains everything that happened back when he got his quirk, and also what happened at the forest training camp, and that All for One wanted him to be his successor, and was going to use Rumi as a way of basically getting that to happen. Fat Gum then asks what if Midoriya just turned on him after getting the quirk from All for One, and Midoriya tells him that he doesn't know, but luckily he didn't have to deal with that scenario, because knowing All for One, he usually has 1,000 backup plans. Well, kid, it was impressive how you went up against All Might, even if you were trying to just act or whatever. What was All for One saying though, while you were laying on the ground, or while he was laying on the ground? Midoriya then remembers back to what All for One said. He told me that he killed my parents. Fat Gum looks in shock and hugs Midoriya. I'm sorry, kid. It's okay. I swear. Everything that happened to me happened for a reason. And it's the reason why I'm here. Fat Gum nods and tells Midoriya that they will be doing a lot more patrols since, he has a provisional hero license. And hopefully one of his classmates will be joining them as long as he passes the exam. Oh, sounds good, but who? He says Kirishima and asks what Midoriya thinks about him. And Midoriya tells him that he doesn't think about him, so that's probably a good thing. Fat Gum slightly laughs and tells him that's good to hear. What about Tamaki? Where is he? Fat Gum points to the other side of the room and says Tamaki is still having some confidence issues. It's okay, Tamaki. You can do it. Now come over here. I want to chat. He walks over and says hi to Midoriya in a very awkward way. He also tells Midoriya he is glad he is okay. Thanks, Tamaki. Fat Gum then tells them starting tomorrow they will do patrols. They both nod, and a couple days pass with patrolling and such, things like that. And Fat Gum brings Midoriya some news. Hey kid, we are currently working with Night Eye's agency on a new case, so Night Eye would actually like to meet you and send you on patrols with Lemillion. Midoriya asks who Lemillion is, and Tamaki tells him that he's actually his best friend and also part of the Big Three. Midoriya tells them that it sounds good to him, and he is sent over to Night Eye's agency. He enters the building and is greeted by Night Eye himself. Survivor, nice to meet you. You can call me Midoriya, Night Eye. I don't mind. Well, Midoriya, I'm really impressed in the fight with All For One. You truly fooled him, and frankly, you truly fooled the whole world into thinking you switched sides. Yeah, sorry about that. Night Eye cuts him off, basically telling him that there's no reason to explain himself. We all know why you did it, and it's impressive how fast you think on the fly. Well, enough of the praise. I want you to meet Mirio, other known as Lemillion. You will be patrolling with him. Oh, okay, yeah. Fat Gum said we are on a case together, so what is that about? Night Eye shows a picture of Overhaul and tells them they've been searching for this man, and if found on patrol to not engage, but the end goal is to take down the Shiha Zaikai. Midoriya nods and looks at Mirio. Do you mind explaining me your quirk, Mirio? Not at all. He explains his quirk and how it took a lot to train it. Midoriya actually explains his as well, telling him how much he's gone through to basically get the strength he's at. Wow, your story is a lot more impressive than mine, Midoriya. It's not a competition, but you have something else. You have something else added to your quirk, right? Mirio and Night Eye look at him in shock. Don't worry. I'm not here to interrogate you. But I can tell when people are holding back the truth and, frankly, lying. But I can tell you're only just holding back the truth. And if I connect some dots, I'm about 80% sure I know the answer to it. But if it's a secret that you don't want other people knowing, and it's that important, I won't bring it up anymore. Night Eye begins to think that this kid is amazing. He then tells them that their first patrol is now, and feel free to just head out. They do so, and they begin walking through a targeted area of possible sightings. So, Survivor, how does it feel to finally be a hero? I know you said initially that you just wanted to do this to get off the streets, but how does it feel now? Well, people in my life taught me that being a hero is a lot more fulfilling than just getting off the streets. Rumi, Fat Gum, they all showed me, even Aizawa Sensei showed me this, and they showed me a different side to being a hero, I guess. As he says this, someone runs into Midoriya. Midoriya turns to see it's a little girl. Midoriya sits on the ground with her. Hey, are you okay? The little girl hugs him and begins to shake uncontrollably. Eri, stop bothering these heroes. Midoriya looks up and his eyes grow wide and he looks to Mirio. Mirio tries to control the situation, but the realization of Overhaul being in front of them hits them like a train. Wait a minute. I know who you are, kid. You're the one who was fighting All For One. Now, why did he want you so badly? Midoriya keeps holding on to Eri, picking her up, and gives her to Mirio. Midoriya then begins walking forward. You know, Overhaul, you don't seem very tough. You just seem like a coward. Oh, big mouth, kid. Let's see if you can back it up. Overhaul takes off his gloves and walks toward Midoriya as well. Eri screams, telling him not to let him touch him. Overhaul grabs Midoriya's shoulder and Eri looks away. But nothing happens. What the hell? What the hell are you? You know, people have been asking me that a lot lately, but I can never give a straight answer. Overhaul begins to just back up, shaking in fear of Midoriya. He begins sending spikes and various other things at Midoriya, but just like Fat Gum said, he truly needs to become a shield, and Midoriya did so. He walks through it all, grabbing Overhaul and knocking him out cold. Mirio looks at him in shock, thinking that this kid is practically invincible. He just made a major villain mob boss quake in his boots and crumble at his feet. Midoriya takes Overhaul to the police, in which they take him away and they bring Eri to Night Eye's agency. Night Eye tells them that they did a good job, but scolds them for being reckless. Yeah, I'm sorry, Night Eye. That was my fault. I saw Eri and lost control. I didn't want to let another child be left alone in the streets. Night Eye walks up to him and hugs Midoriya. You did good, kid. You did good. And at the end of the day, a job well done is a job well done. Midoriya thanks him and heads out of the agency. While walking down the street, though, he hears screams. And they can be heard from, it felt like miles away. And rumbling just a couple seconds later can be felt in the nearby distance. Midoriya looks to see a massive man, or a man-like monster, heading his way, screaming that Izuku Midoriya is the reason why his master is stuck in prison. Midoriya begins to run, but is quickly caught, being sent into a nearby building. Mirio, Night Eye, and various other heroes show up. He screams at them. No, you all need to stay away. Make a plan or something. He's after me. Midoriya begins running through the streets, trying to avoid the giant monster, but also trying to take him to a nearby forest where he knows not many, or if no people are actually there. This thing is gonna kill me. It hits far stronger than anything I've ever felt. Midoriya looks to see a massive hill in front of him. Yeah, going up that is not an option. Time to fight, I guess. He turns to see the beast crying, saying he is the reason why his master is gone. Midoriya screams back, saying his master ruined his life and killed his parents. Midoriya grits his teeth and screams at the top of his lungs. If you serve All for One, you are just as guilty as he is for killing my parents. The beast charges at Midoriya, saying that All for One gave him a chance to live. Midoriya gets punched into the mountain. God damn it! I'm not adapting fast enough. Every hit feels stronger than the last. Midoriya stands to see the beast in front of him once again. You will die, Izuku Midoriya, for my master All for One. The beast smashes his fist into Midoriya, and for the first time in his life, everything truly went dark, and he began seeing a light in front of him. What is happening? Where am I? Am I dead? Two people exit the light, and Midoriya sees a man and a woman. They smile at him and say in unison that they are two proud parents. Mom? Dad? Don't go. Don't leave me again. They smile and tell him it's not his time to go, and that they will meet again once it is. They wave goodbye, and the beast stood over Midoriya as if he won. Midoriya's broken neck, broken bones, broken spine, everything begins to heal, and he stands up as if he was never hit in the first place. For the first time in a long time, a true wide smile grew on his face and stayed there. What?
You should be dead, you puny hero.
Gigantomachia then throws another punch, but Midoriya catches it. Me? Dead? That's not my style. I just have a tendency of surviving. Midoriya picks Machia up and slams him on the ground. Night Eye can then be heard screaming the word now, and a pink mist covers the area, knocking the beast out for good, but also Midoriya. Midoriya then wakes up in the hospital with his class, teachers, and various other pro heroes standing around them. Ugh, where am I? Why does my head hurt so bad? Midnight walks up apologizing, saying to knock out Machia, she had to knock him out as well. So, we won? Night Eye walks up telling him more like he won. Rumi hugs him, saying how worried she was, but he did a great job saving as many people as possible and also surviving himself. That's what I do best, right? But weirdly enough, I felt like for a second there I wasn't going to survive. I actually saw my parents. Rumi looked at him in shock, and all the others who also knew his story do as well. He looks at his hand and tells them that he now knows what he must do for them. Rumi then asks him, "What is that?" "To survive for them."